Hey girls, good morning. So I was staring out the window. Just such a gorgeous day out here. Getting ready for some rain. Just had a beautiful day in Charleston yesterday. Hanging out, having fun. On the water most of the day, so it was really lovely. And we're just back here to wrap up the week. So congratulations, we are on day 20 of our summer challenge. You guys have been doing great. Hanging out, and I'm praying that you're learning something and God's showing you things in your life. It has been an amazing run, and we're going to keep going here. But let's wrap up this week. We dealt with a tough topic this week, perfectionism. And so many times, ladies, we want things to be perfect. You know, we see these Hallmark movies where they talk about the perfect wedding and the perfect life, and everything is just so, and it's just not reality. You know, we have to really understand that everything is not perfect. You know, we've got quirks, we've got flaws, we've got oopses, we've got all kinds of stuff. You know, if we look at yesterday, we headed down to Charleston. We were supposed to get there, have lunch at a local fish place that sits on top of the harbor there, overlooking the ocean, and then we were going to go on a carriage ride. And then we were going to go on the harbor cruise and then go on a dinner cruise to wrap up the day. So yes, it was jam-packed. But that was our perfect idea. But see, we got out of here a little bit later because we had to wrap up some stuff. Well, my husband needed a haircut and I needed to cut it because he was looking like a serious bushman. So he was happy. But part of the problem, what happened, is we ended up hitting a lot of traffic. And so as we headed down, the clock was ticking away, and we noticed that, we weren't going to get lunch in. Okay, well, that's okay. We'll drive through and grab something real quick. And then, okay, we're going to make the carriage ride. And there was just no way to make it. So we had to cancel the carriage ride. So it wasn't the perfect plan that my husband had created for me. But the good thing is it still turned out very amazing. You know, we laughed because I think I'm ADHD. Yeah. Anyhow, I don't pay attention long, and I lose. I got to be doing something, otherwise I get really bored. So it's like driving down is a 3-hour drive. And so we're driving down. I'm like, are we there yet? Are we there yet? Because I wasn't doing anything but sitting there. So I get very agitated, right? Well, we're sitting on this harbor cruise, and it's a beautiful day out there. Sun is shining. Water looks like diamonds everywhere. We've got a narrator. The captain is narrating this whole cruise through the harbor, telling us about all the history there in Charleston. And Charleston is known as the Holy City. So all of this amazing. And I'm looking at Greg going, can we go back to port? I'm done. I'm bored. Well, part of it was the guy was talking very monotone and just kind of like laid back. And I'm like, okay, I can't do an hour on the ship. We need to go back to port. But it was amazing. We had a great day. Dinner cruise was absolutely beautiful. The ship was gorgeous, better than the one that we were in. We went to cruise in Lake Norman a couple years ago, and this was far nicer. So definitely well worth the trip. But when we talk about perfectionism, you know, he had created this plan that we were going to do. And the thing is that we still enjoyed the day, even though it wasn't just perfect the way he had planned. We didn't make it to everything that he had planned. I think we put a lot of stuff into one day and allowing the travel. But the whole point is, if we would have held to that perfectionism that we so tend to do every now and then, what would have happened is the day would have been horrible. There would have been just a miserable afternoon, wishing that we weren't there. But instead, it's like, you know what? Okay, so we're not making lunch. Excuse me. Oh, okay, well, we're not making the carriage ride. Well, it's kind of crazy downtown Charleston anyhow, so we didn't have to go and fight the traffic. But when we look at the whole picture of the day, it was an amazing day just to get away, and it did not have to be perfect. And that's something we have to understand, ladies, in our life, that God gives us so amazing opportunities. And we tend to miss out on them because we're trying to make everything perfect to move in it. We can't do that. We have to step and move when God says move. So the questions for this week, did you answer them? And if not, answer them today. What are you trying to do perfectly? So what is it in your life that you're waiting to actually launch it into action because you want it to be perfect? Maybe you don't want friends to come by the house and have dinner with you because you want the house to be just perfect. Or maybe you're not going out to a women's study because you don't feel like you've got yourself put together just perfect. I don't know what it is that it's in your life right now, but what are you trying to do perfectly? The second question for you this week was, what would perfection look like in this situation? Now make it a thorough description. So write it as if you were narrating it. You know, like they do on the Food Network when they're narrating what the food is, and they talk about the texture and the flavor and everything else. So if it was perfection for you, what would it look like? And then question 3 is, are you capable of making it happen? And be realistic with that response, because most of our responses is going to be no. If I take a look at yesterday for us, was it realistic to actually make it happen? No, I was hoping we could. And I said that as we were heading down, and he was getting so upset because he wanted it to be perfect. And I'm like, well, it's not over yet. Just hang in there. We might be able to make this, right? But in reality, it wasn't possible. And then the question that I think is the most important one for you this week: why do you feel like you have to be perfect? If you remember on Monday, I told you the story of my birth father that I met and how I felt I had to prove myself to him. And I don't know where that came from, because I shouldn't have to prove myself for anyone. Why do you feel like you have to be perfect? Another example, when we lived in the West Coast, a lot of the West Coast, Southern California, is phony. And if you're out there in California and you're watching this, you know it's true. You can deny it, you can blow it off, but we know for a fact California is very materialistic. It's very liberal, and it's just, everybody has to keep up with everyone. It's keeping up with the Joneses, you know? And if you don't have certain labels, then you just don't fit in, right? If you can't afford the high-priced stuff, then you just don't fit in. You know, if you're not buying the latest and the greatest, oh, you have a cell phone that's like 2 years old? Oh, you know, oh, what kind of purse is that? You know, so there's that kind of mentality. And I'm native Californian. I was born and raised in Southern California. So I know that. Well, the problem is, out there, they would look at, even like myself, and they would see that I was overweight, I was too white. I mean, there was always something, right? You know, oh, why don't you go get liposuction? Oh, why don't you go to a tanning bed? Oh, why aren't you buying more expensive clothes? Why are you buying those t-shirts at Walmart? You know, that type of stuff, right? You go shopping out there, and people would bump into you, and they'd be ready to clock you and take your head off. Well, then I moved to the South. And the hardest transition of me trying to be perfect is knowing that the folks down here look at who you are in your heart. They don't care if you're fat, if you're skinny, if you're short, if you're tall, if you're brown, you're white, you're orange, you're green, you're purple. Does not matter. They really sincerely look at who you are. And that's a hard thing to change. After 48 years of being told you're not enough because you don't look like you were born in California, you don't act like you were born in California, and you don't behave like it, you come out here, and for people to accept you as you are. Now imagine that. The way God accepts us is the way we are. It's a different mindset. So we need to stop trying to be perfect for everyone else and live what we believe. Because if we can live what we believe, this whole game of perfectionism isn't even necessary. Because as women of God, if we start building each other up, if we stop judging each other for the outside appearance, and start looking at who we are inside, who our heart is, how we act, how we treat people, that's what matters. I don't care where you buy your clothes. I don't care if you wear makeup. I don't care if your hair is, I don't know, gray. My guy grays, right? I haven't colored my hair since it started growing back out again. But we don't judge for that. If we start looking at who the person is, this whole game of perfectionism, I believe, would go away. We strive to be perfect because everybody else judges. As women, we strive to be perfect because we know if we get together with other women, they're going to be comparing us to them. And we need to stop that. Ladies, we need to get together just in fellowship and love and connecting with each other and stop this perfectionism game. Now, there's a line. I mean, we say we don't have to be perfect, right? But that doesn't mean you don't take care of yourself. You understand the difference? We need to be real, genuine, sincere, transparent, honest, and not be phony. Because that funny facade is going to fall off at some point. It's like I used to say, in junior high, maybe it was junior high, we went to the Virginia Slims tennis tournament. Okay, Virginia Slims, cigarettes and tennis, that just doesn't seem to fit. But back then it did, right? So we go there and I get to meet Cheryl Tiggs. Superstar, supermodel, gorgeous, everything. And yet the thing is with her, is we looked at her and we were like, oh my gosh, what happened to her? Well, the thing was is that she had a facade that was different than who she really was. Apologize for that. Dante just hit the holder. Dante, come on. I know. Hi, Bubba. But anyhow, her skin was horrible, her hair was a mess, and we looked at that, and that was probably the first time that I realized how phony some of the stuff in our world really was. Because she was not that gorgeous cover model that we've seen. She was an average person, just like you and I. But it's amazing what makeup can do to someone. Airbrushing can do. So bottom line is, we need to stop striving to be perfect, and we need to start striving to be women of God. Be that example that God wants us to be. Let's take a quick look at our verses for this week, because we had several. Monday, we talked about looking at Matthew, chapter 11, verses 28 to 30, talking about how God was taking our burdens upon him. So this striving for perfectionism isn't necessary because God's got our burdens. Tuesday, we looked at Luke 10, 41 to 42, and we talked about Martha and Mary. That's our classic story, ladies. Mary focused on the thing that was important, the thing that was good. Martha was so busy trying to be perfect. Martha was so focused on making everything just right because Jesus was in the house. And Mary sat at his feet. Ladies, we need to start being a little more Mary and a little less Martha. That doesn't mean we get lazy and complacent. But I want to be told, Robin has chosen the good part, which shall not be taken from her. Wouldn't that be amazing? If we look at Luke 10, 42, it's where Jesus says, but only one thing is necessary, for Mary has chosen the good part, which shall not be taken away from her. I want to hear, for Robin has chosen the good part, which shall not be taken away from her. How about you? What do you want to hear? Wednesday, we did 2 Corinthians 12:9. My grace is sufficient for you, and power is perfected in weakness. Our perfection comes when we submit and sit at the foot of Christ. That's where our power comes in. That's where our perfection comes in. We are made perfect through Him, not through what we do. Get at His feet. Romans 8:28 was yesterday. It says in there that God causes all things to work together for good who love God. He says all things, not some things, all things. So girls, what is God showing you this week? All about perfectionism. Is this something you're struggling with in your life? Do you need to let go of something? And ask yourself, why do you feel you need to be perfect? And most of the time, it's something in our own head. It's something we need to release and surrender to God so that we can be free in the bondage and those chains can be broken. I'd love to hear from you this week and tell me, what has God shown you through our verses this week? How has God started to change your mindset so that your perspective is different on life? So that you can be like Mary, where God says to you, Mary has chosen the good part, which shall not be taken from her. What are you choosing today, ladies? Let's let go of that need and striving for perfectionism. Because the only perfect thing in this world was nailed to a cross. And we are made perfect through His eyes and His blood. Heavenly Father, I just lift these ladies up to you this week. I thank you, Lord, for this challenge and what you're doing in their life and how you're revealing Scripture to them and making it personal and in their heart, Father. I pray, Lord, as we wrap up this topic of perfectionism, that you will touch each lady's heart, that you will release her that bondage of perfectionism, that she will start to strive and look for the things of you, pressing into you, allowing you to be the one that creates that strength and that perfection in her. May she start to see, Father, today that she is made perfectly awesome in your eyes, Lord. And reveal to her what she needs to release today, Father. Let that bondage and let those chains be broken today as we wrap up today in this amazing week on a tough topic. In Jesus' name. All right, girls. There you go. We wrapped up perfectionism. Whoo, it's over, right? We're not going to be talking about that again. But I'm sure next week I'll have another topic that'll shake somebody's boat, right? So awesome. Don't forget, make sure you go, and I'll put the link above the video here for those that are listening to the recording. For those of you live with me here, you're going to go to robinhardy.net/products/rise, R-A-S-E. You want to get the video. If you've not watched the workshop from Tuesday, you want to watch that. And then come join us in Rise. Rise is going to be an amazing group of women. We're going to keep it small. And it's just a time to build you up. It's accountability. It's mentoring. It's some hands-on with you. Because what's going to start happening is Morning Minutes is going to get a little bit thinner during the week, and I'm going to invest in the people in the group. I'm still going to come here and chat with y'all, but just probably once or twice a week instead of every day. Because I want to pour into this group and really build them up. Because I believe, ladies, that we need to build accountability around us. We need to be mentored. We need to be encouraged as we're struggling each day. Each day brings a new struggle. And we just need to have a support system that's in place that truly cares about us. You're not a number. You're a person. And I'm going to invest in you. So make sure you take a look at the video. If you don't even want the video, you just want to sign up for Rise, go to robinhardy.net/rise, and you'll get straight to the page. All right, ladies, so have a fabulous weekend. Enjoy this weekend. We're heading into the 4th of July, so yay, lots of fireworks and noise. But like my husband says, we hit July and then it's Christmas, so hang on. The next 6 months is going to be a rocky, fast-paced, almost like you're on an inner tube whitewater rafting. So have a great weekend. Enjoy your family and friends. And ask God, what do you need to release that you're trying to be perfect about? Okay? We'll catch you guys on Monday. Love you. Bye.